Welcome to the Satori Show with your host, Amy Satori, an intuitive spiritual counselor. Her gift is to help you live your most fulfilling life. Amy's unique ability to connect with our higher selves, guides, and loved ones is amazing. She answers our burning questions and helps us discover who we really are. Among her gifts is the direct connection with a spiritual guide named Celeste, whose objective is to unify and balance divine feminine and masculine energies and to assist in the ascension of our planet. Amy also speaks to other spirits, pets, mythical creatures, and even your body to help you manifest ultimate health, wealth, and happiness. She's helping people all over the world, including artists, athletes, celebrities, Nobel Peace Prize winners, writers, directors, entrepreneurs, other healers, and even regular folks like us. Her passion is to help you find your true love and shows you how to nurture and strengthen that connection. Her clients are amazed at her incredible gifts, and they tell everyone they know. And now you can talk with Amy direct. Just call 256-291-1191 any Sunday from 12 to 1 Mountain Time when the show is live. Please follow her on Instagram or subscribe to her newsletter at www.amysatori.com to stay connected with her lovely, radiant energy and receive the newest updates. Now, join me, Kevin McDonald, as we turn our hearts and mind over to Amy's loving guidance and discover tips on how to create magical lives and relationships. It's time to break down those barriers and emerge as the butterfly you truly are. Right now on The Satori Show. And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and you're listening to The Satori Show. And Amy Satori has gotten into her chair. She's got her blanket around her. She's got her feelings on, and we're going to talk about a very important topic today. And it's really a topic that a lot of people are interested in, and that's the topic of twin flames. And this is a question and answer session. And so we are going to get into a lot of the different questions that you may have about your twin flame. Where are they? Are they there? Are you with them? And we're also hopefully going to take some calls this hour, so we'll see. So with that, Amy Satori, how are you today?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day here,
it's
too, which is hard to believe. Exactly.
It's sunny here. It's almost 70, so it's kind of perfect.
Yes, indeed. It's a sunny day here, and it's going to be about 60. So we're a little bit behind you, but not bad. One of the things I would like to mention right at the beginning is you can go to our podcast, which is the podbean.com / I don't know what it is, Amy. What is it?
It's the satorishow.podbean.com.
Thank you very much. You can also go to www.amysatori.com if you want to book a reading or find out more about her. And also, ta-da, we're introducing a brand new forum that we're on, and that's Live 365. Go to the Satori Show, and you can hear all of our shows. Not all of them yet, but you will be able to hear a good portion of them, and you can just let it play in the background while you're doing your work or driving and doing your stuff. So if you do that, that's Live 365, and click on the Satori Show. So with that, Amy, twin flames. Let's give people a brief background of what twin flames are, and then I've got a whole bunch of questions for you.
Okay. Basically, there are 3 types of relationships. Sort of 4. But, okay, so there's a karmic relationship, and that is one that's there to teach you lessons. They're painful, and a lot of times they're selfish or narcissistic. But not necessarily. It's like we're all karmics for all of our exes, and just all those that weren't a good fit for us. Those were all the karmics, and they were there to teach us valuable lessons. And yeah, they're great because they teach and kind of train our twin for us. They get them ready for us. So those that are upset right now that their twins are with karmics, it's like, be grateful. Be grateful because whatever those lessons are they're learning from them, they're not going to have to learn with you. So, yeah, have a good attitude about the karmics. They're wonderful. All right, so soulmates. Soulmates are the ones that are really easy, and we have plenty of soulmates and plenty of karmics. Karmics, I mean, gosh, that's limitless. That's hundreds. That's all the people we have relations with and all that stuff included. So, and then there's the soulmates, and soulmates are the ones that are just super easy, comfortable, hardly anything goes wrong. They've been married 40, 60 years, really don't have conflicts and things like that. So soulmates can be really great. They definitely make you feel loved. You feel loved from them, and it's all really easy. And then you have the twin flame, and there's only one twin flame, and that is a romantic relationship. The soulmate can be all kinds of different kinds of relationships. It can be friends, family, animals, and things like that. But the twin flame, that person is basically made for you. And the theory, and I'm not sure where it comes from, I'm not sure if you know the background on that or not, but it's basically a soul was created and split into two. They became a masculine dominant one and a feminine dominant one. It doesn't matter actually the sex of them. And so the masculine, both of them strive to kind of balance out their feminine and masculine aspects. And as they kind of grow and mature and get balanced, then they come together and have kind of a catalytic moment where they meet, and it's really sweet and it's really kind, and the person sees in the other person something new they've never seen before, something that makes them really curious, something that makes them feel like maybe this could be something I've never experienced. This could be, something that opens my eyes and helps me to heal some things and maybe helps me trust again. So they have a catalytic moment, and then the more masculine dominant one runs, and they're called the runner. And then the feminine one is the chaser at first. So then they both go through their own series of transformation. I don't even want to go into the details of that right now. If you want to listen to more about all that kind of part of the process, then listen to one of my other talks about twin flames. It'll say Amy talks about twin flames. So just click on that one or two. I think I've done 2 talks on that. But basically that's kind of the gist. There's a runner and the chaser through the separation period, which is what all the romantic comedies are about, is just that separation period before they come into union. And when they come into union, basically, they begin a relationship. Or, it could be a friendship at first that turns into a relationship, but it's just basically them, deciding, all right, let's see what we got here and start working together. Instead of developing separately, let's come together. And once they're in a relationship, it's not like everything's all roses and rainbows. It's like they're kind of a combination between a karmic and a soulmate. And so they'll love you absolutely intensely like nobody ever has before, completely unconditionally. But they'll also really trigger some past hurts. So it's a very healing relationship because it brings up the pain, but it also totally heals it. So, it's a really beneficial relationship. And one of the questions that I get from people, too, is like, should I choose a soulmate or a twin flame? Because they're both so positive, so great. But I usually, in recommending to people who are sitting in front of me doing a reading, I'll recommend the soulmate if the person can't handle working on themselves. If they have a really tough time taking personal responsibility and they kind of are in their heads way too much and they can't handle being able to see themselves and to kind of grow and mature from the process, then I'll usually say, go with the soulmate. The problem with going with a soulmate is they can be kind of boring. And once you know who your twin flame is, that's like much more of a passionate relationship and much more exciting. So if you settle for a soulmate, then it's kind of hard. You're going to end up breaking their heart because you'll want to be with the twin flame, and you may even have an affair or leave them for the twin flame. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to get involved with a soulmate, and I don't want to get involved with a karmic because I don't want to hurt anybody. So that's kind of how it goes.
Now, for those that are listening that are saying, all right, now wait a minute. Are you saying that the same soul can split into 2 beings and enter 2 bodies at the same time? That's pretty much exactly what you're saying, right?
Yep. Yeah, in fact, it's so crazy because my twin flame just actually visited me by surprise about a week ago. It It was so surreal. And I'm sitting in front of him looking at him, and I was just fascinated with this concept. You know, I'm just looking at his face, the way he moves, the way he talks, what he's passionate about. And I was just adoring and admiring him, just going, look at him and his power. Look at him discovering. Look at him. And I'm just watching him going, wow, this is me. This is me that went a different route in life, you know? But it just, there was such this incredible connection and rapport and kind of an ease to it that I just felt completely comfortable and at home. It was really neat.
And for those that are still skeptical, let me kind of see if I can't clear it up for you. Our higher self on the other side has got an abundant amount of energy, so much so that our higher self, if you were to take all of that energy and put it into a human, it would basically blow the fuse because there's so much power there. And in fact, even when we are incarnating here, part of our soul power is left on the other side. So we are actually in two places at the same time, which is why you can communicate with your higher self on the other side, because they are still in, for lack of a better word, heaven or the other side, or wherever you want to put it. And so you can communicate with them, and they're there. Now, the first question I have for you is, when they split into two, is the energy distribution between the two the same? Does one have more than the other? Or are they designed to be the same so that they can come together?
I believe they're designed to be the same so they can come together, but there is an age difference sometimes. So it's kind of rough for the younger one in a sense, because they have to go through so much faster to kind of catch up, or whichever way you want to see that. But this balancing happens. And going back to that concept, it's like we're made in God's likeness, and God is feminine and masculine together. So this is like the twins, I believe, are going to be the start of the new Garden of Eden on the new earth. So, and there's a whole thing that we could go down that road, and I don't want to do that necessarily today, but
okay. Yeah. So so I'm assuming then that if this is a true concept, that part of the agreement that was made prior to us coming here is that you are destined to meet your twin flame at one point or another, hopefully at a time when it's right for both of you, and both of you are working on yourselves and trying to ascend yourself, basically. So if that's the case, is that the case? I guess I'm asking, and is that by contract on the other side?
Yeah, and that's another question people ask is, do they have free will? In past lives, they did. They had contracts, but a lot of them missed out, and it wasn't so crucial in the history, and it was kind of like it's kind of hard to explain, but you kind of needed to have these near misses in the past lives to have them have this big yearning for each other, to want to be together. So it kind of created like a momentum in a sense. And so there's even purpose in the times when they didn't come together in the past. But at this time, with where we're at in the planet and coming to this time of ascension, it is essential, and they've already agreed in the contract to come together. So they had free will, and they were given it from the start, but they've already agreed to fulfill it. So if you truly are a twin flame during this time, then you are definitely going to come together, guaranteed.
If that's the case, then there are certain signals and or signposts that have been left for us to let us know that something important is about to happen. What are some of the signs and synchronicities that we should be looking for?
Well, for me, they've been totally insane. I wish we could be like documenting every day of my life sometimes, because it's so much that I can't even write it down in my diary anymore. I mean, and I get like anxiety if it's been like 3 days, because there's so much stuff in those 3 days. I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed out on those 3 days being tracked, you know. But they're sending us numbers. Like every number has a purpose and a meaning to point you somewhere or to tell you a clue. So be paying attention to the numbers that you see. Find out what those numbers mean. For me, I have the numbers mean something that, like, some of the numbers are like what everybody says that they are, and some of them have become something special to me. So I see numbers. It's supposed to be like an individual thing. Just develop your own number system and what those numbers mean to you. It doesn't necessarily have to go along with what everybody thinks those numbers mean, although it's helpful to have a foundation. But you'll be shown that person's name a lot. You'll know where they're, like the city where they were born, or the place that they're from, or where their family is from. You'll get inundated with hearing people walk by and say their name and say, like before my twin came, gosh, everybody, like there would be a customer walking around the store and they'd say, he's coming soon. And I'd look up and then I'd be like, And then I have these cards, talk to me cards, and these other cards called love bombs. And they kept saying, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I get butterflies in my stomach when I'm about to see you. So I kind of had a heads up for a couple weeks, a few weeks prior. And I started to have dreams like 2 days before he came. And so like it was like a buildup. And the 2 days before he came, I just had this, one of them was this crazy dream, which kind of sort of came true a little bit. At least it prepped me. And the next dream was like super, super awesome, but I don't remember a lot about it, but it was very, very encouraging. And then I also I work with tarot as well. So those give you some really good clues along the path as well. You'll have like books fall off the shelf and pay attention to the titles or what you open to on that page. But like even with the tarot, I was putting my cards away. I think it was the Tuesday. He came on a Thursday, and I was putting my cards away on a Tuesday. I think I was a substitute reader that day or something, because I was putting my cards away, and the Knight of Wands flew out when I was thinking about him, and I was wondering if he was going to come visit. And the Knight of Wands came out, which is about somebody coming with passion. And it came, just flying out. And so I took that as a sign of, yes, he's coming. And then so I asked, when is he coming? And the Two of Swords came out, and swords represent days. So they were saying 2 days. Well, I thought Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's no way he would show up on a Thursday. That's just impossible. Like, he wouldn't do that. He'd show up on a weekend or something like that, So I totally disregarded it. And I shouldn't have, because he did show up on Thursday, but it was really funny. My boss laughed at me that day because my hair, it was like a really bad hair day, and I had to put my hair back in a bun. I put if you look at those of you who are on my Facebook with me, like that day I put on my makeup without even looking in the mirror, just as an experiment. So when she found out that he came to visit, she started laughing so hard. She was like, I can't believe of all the days. It was so funny. But we didn't skip a beat at all. I mean, the connection was obvious. We had a really wonderful time talking, and it was just beautiful.
Well, and as validation of what numbers mean to you, this particular podcast, we use a service called Call-In Studio, and the call-in number, the prefix is, and when I told you that number, you almost fell out of your chair. Tell us why.
I didn't exactly want to reveal that number, but it's okay. I'm trying to keep as much private as I possibly can. But that was my area code growing up, and it was what he started off using on Instagram. It was a number that he had. So, and there are so many correlations. Like over Christmas. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy too. I just thinking of all of them. It's like I had a package that was stolen, and an officer with his name left a card saying, to come claim my package. I was like, seriously? Like, his name is not that common. And I thought it was officer and then his name, and I thought, oh my gosh. And I think it was Thanksgiving. I had all these cultural things come up, I guess you could say. These themes for parties were all about like the culture where he's from and has kind of grown up with. So, and it's really rare in the Boulder area. And I got invited to some dance event that teaches the dance from his culture and stuff. And so I was like, what the heck, man? And then, and this is really crazy too, and I wish I had the note on me. I don't have it, but I started seeing this guy over the holidays, and then broke up with him around, I don't know, January, February-ish. And he ended up sending me a Valentine's Day package that, and this was after we broke up, and I broke up with him. He gives me this card and this whole package that was like pretty much really from my twin. It was a really crazy thing because my twin actually messaged me the day before Valentine's Day and told me where he was. And this guy that I had broken up with gives me this package, and it has these playing cards in it with the top of the deck being my favorite color, and then it had a symbol of where my twin was. And he writes me this card, pouring his heart out to me, saying, I made the wrong choice. I choose you. And I'm thinking, wait, I broke up with you. I made the choice. Number one.
Yeah, we tend to forget all that.
I was like, what are you talking about? And then he was like, I thought we had a reason for staying apart, but now I see no reason whatsoever that we should be apart. I want to spend my life with you. And all of this stuff that just sounded much more like my twin's higher self than this guy. And I just had to laugh because it was just so perfect, and it was exactly what I would have wanted to hear for Valentine's Day from my twin, but it came through some other guy's message. So I thought that was so funny. And I actually sent him a picture of the playing cards and what they looked like. I was like, I just received these. I didn't show him the card. The card was like, it was crazy. It was really crazy.
Well, you probably don't want to go there. But all right, so we've identified that this is a true phenomenon, and certainly is true for you. And so, for those that are listening that are saying, all right, I met lots of karmics. I've even had a soulmate or two. When a soulmate can be a brother or sister, somebody that you truly love, that you really get along with well. So how do we know when we meet that one?
A lot of it is, how do you know when you meet them? I don't know. It's kind of just a feeling of comfort, and it's kind of like they get you, and you kind of feel like you can be yourself with them, and you feel like you could tell them anything, and it's real like sweet, innocent, kind, playful. You feel like a little kid. And I've talked to many twins when they've met, and they all feel this way. They all kind of know on some level. The feminine knows probably more because her intuition's involved, and she's used it a lot more than the masculine has. But the masculine, they kind of have this mechanism, from what I understand, where they know the minute they meet, pretty much. And but they go into denial, and they freak out, and they run from it because they know it would devastate them if it didn't work out, and they know that they've been really, really hurt before. They don't want to get hurt like that again, and so they try to run from it and date all these karmic partners just to see if it could be anything else but that. It's like it feels so big to them. It's like destiny is calling and fate is calling, and it's just a little scary when you're being kind of called into your life purpose. So, but basically that's how you know, is like the feminine will get lots and lots of signs and synchronicities as it goes along. The masculine doesn't so much right from the start, but eventually, as he taps into his intuition more, he starts to get some signs pointing to her as well, or starts to have some realizations through these karmic partners that I've used my logic long enough. Now it's time to just listen to my heart, that kind of thing.
So now, if you are a twin flame, and I'm assuming that part of the mission, well, first of all, let me ask you, what is the mission? What is the purpose of the twin flames coming together?
It's basically to be really happy. Our higher selves want us to be blissed out and really happy because it's going to help raise the vibration of the planet and going to help with the creation of the new Earth, which is already created, but, it's going to help fuel it and help to kind of, there is duality still happening right now, and there's like a train track going off to the left with all those that are just still real dense energy, and then those going right that are raising their vibration. And as a collective for the whole planet, as the twin flames come together, it just kind of raises the vibration for everyone and kind of pulls everybody more to the right. So that's it. But their mission varies. A lot of times these guys end up working together. They decide between them, like, what do we both feel passionate about? What do we feel excited about? And then they get to doing that. A lot of times the feminine kind of begins getting on mission first because she's kind of excited about him, and both of them grow tremendously from having met each other. That's another sign. Like, both of you go through like massive major changes in that separation period is what it's called. And she usually will start embracing her own power, stepping into her own power and seeing what really makes her, what lights her fire. And she'll start going after that. She'll start stepping into that role in her life. And then he catches up with that and then supports it. And then together they do something that they both really feel awesome about. If they don't, I've seen twins that don't do something together, and they usually kind of get a little depressed. So I tell them to figure out what it is they're supposed to be doing together, because they got to get on it. And then they feel much better.
So what happens when, say, the feminine decides that she is going to work on herself and to be who she can be and to really try and work on her heart and develop herself, and her twin flame is still asleep to the process? How does that work, or does he wake up on his own?
I'm really glad you asked that, because that is a really big issue. That's what happens. That's called the separation. But what it's like is they are going through the same thing. They are awakening. It just looks different. And a lot of times she's like more evolved spiritually than he is first, but he catches up really fast. I've heard some incredible stories that the masculine seemed like way behind, and then all of a sudden they get together, and it's just like, it's kind of like when a droplet of water gathers with another droplet of water, and it's like, and it just, how quickly it comes together, and then it's like boom. It's kind of like that. You get the two together and it catches fire, and then all of a sudden he's not only caught up to her, but he's even like going past her, because she's been sitting there waiting around, twiddling her thumbs. And I tell the feminine, don't do that. Like, keep developing, because by the time he catches up to you and gets up like on fire with you, then he could just like fly right by you and leave you in the dust because you haven't been developing. So keep developing and keep working on yourself and keep working on your intuition. And he does catch up. A lot of times too, the masculine is dealing with codependency, and he's dealing with addiction issues. So he has to overcome all that stuff. A lot of this stuff the feminine has already gone through. So she's actually going first, in a sense, to help him out, and so that they can support each other. And they're usually really complementary as well. So areas where she still kind of lags behind or isn't doing so great at herself, he'll be doing really good at.
So what about some of the mundane human issues that we all have? What if, as an example, what if your twin flame hasn't taken very good care of themselves and is not the picture of health that you might think? What if he isn't what if he is stuck in addictions and can't get himself out of it? What do you do? Does the feminine wait for him to come around? Does she mess around and date other people? That's the term. Date other people? How does that play out if you've identified your twin flame as somebody, but that person isn't the picture that you would have picked him or her to be?
Well, okay. The masculines have issues with feeling worthy of this kind of a love. So that is like their biggest issue in coming together. So they will settle with a relationship that feels more comfortable because they are just feeling a little scared, I guess. But that does change, and they do step into their power. I personally believe in them, and I'm talking to some feminines right now who are kind of giving up, and they're kind of tired of waiting around, and maybe the masculine has already told them several times, I'm leaving my karmic, I want to be with you, and it's just like empty promises over and over. But I honestly feel like within the next couple of months, all the karmics are going to be gone. Like the earth is really trying to get all the right people together. And, it's like if you're a masculine and you're considering leaving the karmic, don't feel bad either, because it's like whoever she is or he is, they're going to match up with their right person too, if they're a good person. If they've gotten to the level in development where they're going to be with their twin. Otherwise, they're just going to keep going through karmic partners, but that shouldn't be your responsibility either. So I believe in them, and I believe in waiting for them just because I don't want to mess with people's hearts. I don't want to hurt a soulmate, and I don't want to hurt a karmic. And I know one feminine who's chosen her soulmate now because she's so tired of waiting for him. But I keep telling her he'll show up. I know that he will. And by the time he does, though, which may even be soon, but she's already made her choice. He's going to show up with his heart, and she's going to say, I'm sorry, but I'm with the soulmate, and I really don't want to hurt him now. And it's just it gets pretty messy. So I try to keep my slate clean, and I'm just like dedicated to the mission, and I just know that if I just keep on fire and keep working on myself, he'll join me. So that's what I'm focused on, and I'm working on developing in my own way. Like everything is a reflection of me, and I don't have a perfect body. I don't have, my masculine is like capable of, going out with just about any girl he wants. He's pretty darn cute, and he's got a great body. So there's been that insecurity on my part, but it doesn't matter because the chemistry is there. And you just have to take care of yourself. Do it for you. Don't do it to please the other person, but do it because you want to be healthy. But ultimately, nothing is going to stop it. Haven't you ever seen like those skinny people and fat people walking around? Or somebody who's like really homely with somebody super hot? I mean, it's not all that common, but that's what you're seeing is a twin flame couple right there. So nothing will hold these guys back, and they are by nature attracted to each other no matter what. So I would definitely say that if you feel like you're kind of unworthy of your partner in any way, I mean, the masculines have a totally different insecurity than the feminines do. Just work on yourself. It's all about just working on yourself and loving and accepting yourself. And when you feel confident in your own skin, you're super sexy, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Just, just work on yourself constantly. Just keep that your focus, and don't, a lot of people say, I'm waiting on him and I'm not happy, I'm miserable, I think about him all the time, and that's just not the place to be to attract your partner. So you've got to learn how to be happy despite any circumstances.
Well, that's very interesting, Amy, but question for you, and because if it's in a contract developed from the other side, doesn't that mean then that they have placed themselves on the earth with families in situations where it would not be impractical for them to meet? As an example, it's not like your twin flame would choose to be born in Kenya and would never leave Kenya, and you would never meet them. Isn't the contract designed so that there will be markers placed that when the time is right, that you will meet this individual? Is that kind of how it works?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Now, what if they have issues that you weren't aware of? Because we all, before we meet our twin flame, we all have lives. And we may have karmic relationships. We may have made poor decisions. All of us have made poor decisions. And what if, as an example, they have kids? What if they've had an STD? What if, there's all kinds of what ifs, but what about some of those?
I ultimately feel like just that God wants them together, period. So I think they'll come together. I think they'll overcome whatever it is. Some of my clients have twins that are across the world, and they're working out how to make that happen. And it's so crazy too, because some of them haven't even dated all that long, and they just know, and they're like really passionate about trying to get together. So it's in their DNA. it's like I don't know what's a good analogy for something you just can't be kept from. It doesn't, and a lot of times with twins, they have the same ailments. So if somebody has an STD, the other twin probably has it too, I would guess. Or they wouldn't have a problem if they did have it. I would think it's like having a choice between having the love of your life and taking an STD with it or taking a kid with it. I think you'd do it, because ultimately it's all designed to make you the happiest you can possibly be anyway. So apparently you needed the STD, or apparently you needed the kid, or apparently you needed to move to Ireland or Scotland or, somewhere else. So it's all meant to be. I don't think you can be kept from your twin. I really don't.
Well, let me give you an example of a particular moment. For those that may still be skeptical of this whole thing, let me give you an example from my life. When I was young, I was a waiter at a restaurant in Seattle, and I met this guy. And we became very good friends. And through the course of time, we hung out together like all summer long. And through the course of time, as fall approached, he said, I want to go to Green River Community College and go to the auto body department. My dad's a professor there, and I would like to learn how to do auto body. Would you come with me and do it with me? And I said, well, I don't really know much about auto body, and nor do I care much about auto body, but okay, I'll go with you. So we go up to Green River Community College the day for the enrollment, and we stand in line. We're like 10 people from the front of the line. And he looks at me and he says, you know what? I'm having second thoughts. I don't think that I want to do auto body, and I'm not going to register. And I said, well, okay, but since I'm here, I might as well explore what it is that I might like to do. And so I get to the front of the line, and sitting at a table with nobody in front of him, just sitting there, was the theater director, who was talking about enrolling in theater extemporaire or doing improvisational theater. And so I said, I might like to do that. So I went and sat down. We had a great conversation. I enrolled in improvisational theater, which led to a year of acting, and that's where I met my wife. Had Corey, my friend, not said, let's go up there, and if he had not said, I'm not going to do this, I never would have even been there to go into the theater department and then meet my wife, and that union produced two beautiful children. And those two children are my best friends today. So that was all synchronicity. That was all set up by design, and it was a road marker in my life to make that decision. That's kind of how the twin flames works, isn't it?
Exactly. Some people get really caught up with, well, what if I do this that makes them run away again, or what if I do that? I tell them, don't be controlling of it, because the trying to control it too much or think about it too much in your logical mind is just going to be like a blockage. In terms of like the timing of it all, it's just being worked out, and I think there are many different like parallel realities and different ways and timelines that these things can come about. So, but it's ultimately supposed to happen when it does, and it's all like a magnetic, energetic attraction that happens that pulls them together. So ultimately, you will make it around any obstacle, just like a river doesn't get totally stopped by a stump. It just kind of goes around the stump or takes something with it.
So even if you miss one of the markers that you've set up for yourself on the other side before you came here, there are multiple markers that eventually you'll get it. So you don't have to stress about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just going to happen when it does and when you're ready, when both of you are ready for it. Some of it you won't see coming.
Well, and that really is the key, is that the universe is preparing you, and all of your relationships is preparing you for that moment, and they get to choose, because you already chose before you came here, when that moment is going to be right. Because you can meet somebody and that moment is wrong, and it takes some time to sort that out. But if you meet somebody, they make sure that the timing is right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah.
So,
just relax.
When you're talking about your twin flame, now they've had their own life, they've had their own deal. What if, as an example, what if you are a staunch liberal and they are a staunch conservative? Or if will you like the same kind of foods? Will you eat and drink the same kind of drink? Will you like the same kind of movies? Are all of those things predestined, or is that something that you get to work through as you go along?
Well, if there are some opposites like that, I think it's so that they can become more something that's in the middle, more neutral. So, if you think about it, it's the reason that we have this duality is to see the contrast. Seeing all the contrast makes you actually realize what's the truth and what you truly want. So it's all a journey, and it's all designed to be like complementary for the other half of the soul to realize things. So it's for their growth. And I don't know, in terms of like food preferences and things like that, I know that a lot of twins, one of them likes to go out a lot, the other likes to stay home a lot. It's like, how do they figure that out? Well, they just do, because they love each other and they're willing to make it work out. However, so they're each going to have their preferences. It's not like they're going to be identical in all these different things. But that's by design, and that's supposed to help each of you grow more toward or more like the other, or at least complement each other to where one of you is strong in one area and the other is weak. So you kind of learn to work together as the yin and yang symbol. Together you guys are complete, and you can kind of tag team on different situations and say, hey, you're really good at this, I'm really good at that. Let's put it together and see how that works, or that kind of thing. So it's all about teamwork with the twins.
Now, go ahead. Okay. Okay, well, I like to talk about this stuff. So does it mean necessarily that when you connect with your twin, and I got a follow-up question to that, when you connect with your twin, is that the end? Does that mean that you're going to be with that person forever? And the second part of that question is, how do you know that it's your twin and not what they call a false twin?
There are a lot of videos on that, how to know if somebody's your false twin. And I've watched some of them, but the biggest thing that I've seen is if that person is a narcissist or a psychopath or a sociopath or something severe, if they're outright mean, that's not your twin, just so you know. You don't do that. Don't go there. If you're with one now, don't be scared to leave that behind either, because the real thing's coming and he's going to be like way better. So if you're being abused in any way, I would say that is definitely a false twin. I think my ex was a false twin, and there were a lot of things that would have made me think he was a twin. It was like he could read my mind, and he seemed to. I mean, we would talk, and he would finish my sentences, or we would know what the other's thinking, and we worked incredibly well as a team. We always wanted to do the same things. We didn't have that problem of one of us wanting to be home and the other wanting to be out. We both wanted to be with each other, and we both wanted to do everything together. And I really liked that. And I think that your twin ends up being similar in the things that you like about the false twin, only without the meanness. So I'm still experimenting with that, and I still have yet to discover in my own twin flame relationship, what that's all about personally. But just from the conversations I've had with twins so far, that's what it seems like.
You're actually having a really wonderful time going down this journey, aren't you?
Oh my gosh, yes, it's a blast. He struck me out of nowhere. He really did. He just like blindsided me and stole my heart and ran. and just seeing all the similarities between all these twins as they come to me is just like so, like my jaw drops all the time. I get to hear all the cool synchronicities that happen for them, all the neat ways that they overcome things, and the ways, I've seen people realize that they love the other person. I mean, I've seen so many beautiful things right in front of my eyes. So I'm really, really grateful to have this assignment, that's for sure.
I like the way that you describe it as an assignment. It's like the powers on high have determined that this is what you're going to be doing with yourself.
Well, here's something crazy too. When my twin came to visit this last time, there was this woman. We took a picture just before he left, and he went up the stairs. And this woman looks at me and she said, "Excuse me, I hope you don't mind me asking, but what was that?" And I was laughing. She said, "Whatever that was some incredible, intense energy." She goes, "Something really big was happening right there." And it was just amazing. And as I continued to talk to her, I actually found out she was there for the moment he came in. Also, she had been hanging out at the bookstore for an hour and a half while we went out and talked and did all of our thing and came back. She was there and saw the whole thing. So I got her whole depiction. So that was like obviously meant to be too. That was pretty cool. She's like, "I couldn't believe and how he came down the stairs and hearing you guys interact, I knew there was something big." And then, it was really cool to get her perspective. I was like, whoa.
What's interesting about that is that I believe that our lives, while not predestined, that there are certain road markers in place or road signs, if you will, to get us places. And those involve people. And those people can come into your life like Corey did in my life for a brief moment. I haven't talked to him in, 40 years, but they can come into your life in a brief moment and they can make a tremendous impact. That lady came into your life at that moment to make the impact and the validation of what you were feeling.
That's very true. That is very true. And what are the chances that somebody would hang out for that long in a bookstore and she picked up on it? And we had it was funny too because we have other employees there that kind of know the backstory a little bit, and they would have been really excited to see him, and none of those people were there. It was an employee. The employee that was there was just like doesn't pay attention to anything. Like he's totally clueless. And he doesn't know anything about any backstory. He doesn't pay attention to much at all. So it's kind of perfect in some ways because I wouldn't want to scare him either, but it was so perfect.
Do you want to tell the story about the bank teller?
Oh, that was pretty funny. So we're walking along, and I just thought I would just take care of an errand and stop by the bank and make a deposit kind of thing. And we walk up, and I don't remember the set of events as to why I ended up telling the bank teller about us. It was I can't reveal that part. But there was just a synchronicity where she and another coworker at the bank were talking about something when I came in, and I overheard it, and I got involved in their conversation. And then I said, it kind of sounds like you're with a twin flame, and I started to tell her about all that. And then she said, we have very different religious perspectives and things like that, and started, and then of course I drilled her, because every twin flame I get a hold of, I ask them as many questions as possible. And she said, oh, we've totally worked through that. And, and she just kind of spilled her life. And then, so I told her some about my journey and whatnot. And so then whenever I go there, she's like, any updates? How's that going? That kind of thing. She's just really sweet. So I walk in with him, and I said something like, oh, we're having a debate, and I said, what do you think about this? What's your weigh in on it? So she starts to talk about the subject, and we're all discussing it. Then all of a sudden she says, wait a minute, what's happening here? She goes, oh, is this him? she just lit up. And he was like, oh my God. And he just kind of looks down. Oh my gosh, I'm a celebrity in this town. Like, how many people know about me? I'm sure his mind was probably like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But it was pretty funny. I was laughing.
Well, I just hope, and I know that your belief in this phenomenon is so strong that I know that it will come true for you, and it will be a wonderful thing for you to enjoy, and a wonderful life that you'll have. So I look forward to that for you, and I want to thank you, Amy, for answering a lot of these questions, because these are burning questions that a lot of people have about this topic, because I think most people would really like to be in a real solid union with somebody that gets them, that they can be goofy, they can be funny, they might even, not wear makeup or whatever it is, and feel okay to be with that person and to be complete. And it's like that, I think it was Jerry Maguire when he says, you complete me. And that's what everybody is looking. That's not everybody, but most people are looking for someone who can complete them, and they can live their lives in tandem, but be as.
Let's put it this way too. It's like people are looking for it, but there's like a sea of karmics. There is a sea of karmics, and there are quite a few soulmates. So it's when it really comes down to finding one that's your fit, and they don't complete you, you complete yourself, and so do they. That's the magic of it. Is you guys are like both of you are independently self-sufficient and independent and strong. But when you get all the signs and synchronicities, and the universe is saying that one, it's like, listen, something special is happening there.
And you're listening to The Satori Show with Amy Satori. Go to her website, which is www.amysatori.com. She's got a wealth of information there. She's becoming really quite well known for her twin flame journey and philosophies, and can really help you and guide you along. You can book a reading with her, and you can go to the resource page and listen to these podcasts. I talk about this quite a little bit. The twin flame groups are growing, and they're getting stronger. One final question before we go, Amy. Does everyone have a twin flame, or is this particular to a few?
I don't think everyone is a twin flame, and I don't think everyone has a twin flame necessarily, because maybe your twin died, or maybe you just didn't have a twin flame or aren't meant to at this time. I do know some people are meant to be alone, and because they came here on purpose. It's not like, don't feel sorry for them, because they came here on purpose to be like a powerhouse in themselves. But I feel like you have to be at a certain level of development to call in your twin flame either way. So if you have one and if you are one, then you're going to be ready when you're ready. So the biggest piece of advice is if I can give to anybody is don't be looking for someone to make you happy. Be as happy as you can possibly be on your own. And if you do have a twin, they'll come. If not, you've got other options with soulmates, which would be great too. So, you're not gonna be left out. And even if you have karmics the rest of your life, you're learning some great lessons. So, but yeah, good luck karmics when the twin flame comes.
Well, I for one, and I think that there are people on the planet that are like me in that I don't feel like I need anyone in my life and I've already been there and done that, and I'm perfectly happy doing what I'm doing and being who I am. And there are people like that, so it's no pressure, folks. If you choose to be alone, that's perfectly okay. If you continue to work on yourself and take yourself to another place, but
that's the other
there's
thing.
Room. Go ahead.
That's the other thing. I've had some people. They're like, I don't want anybody. It doesn't even matter if I la 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 la. And I tell them, yeah, good luck with that, because when the twin flame comes, you're going to be singing a different tune, guaranteed. This is a paranormal experience. This is a supernatural experience. This is a God experience. This isn't just a normal relationship. And that's one of the things I have to explain to people all the time too, is they try to put it in that box of a normal relationship. Oh, but we don't know each other that well. Oh, but we don't this. Or, oh, but he hasn't contacted me. That means he doesn't like me. And that means that they put all these stories to it and they try to do all that stuff. But even these people who just want to be totally alone and they're trying to put up this brave front, which I see right through. I just want to be alone. When the twin flame happens to you, when this experience happens to you, you cannot turn your back to it. It's like impossible. And trust me, when it happens, for both the masculine and the feminine, they cannot shake that person out of their head forever. I mean, they're forever tormented until they finally get together. And I even know like a twin flame relationship that recently broke up like a few weeks ago. And she is giving me reports and letting me know that, he's still constantly on her mind and she misses him like crazy. I know they'll get back together. But they separate, the twins separate when they have to do some more growing and some more maturing. So they just have to go through something and grow and then to come together even stronger. So it's okay.
I got a question for you. And this goes back in the mists of time. Goes back 43 years ago. I was together with my high school sweetheart. Her name was Lisa Maria Gillespie, and we had what I thought was a wonderful relationship, and I was head over heels. I was 17 when we broke up. Got together when I was 15, and she has had an impact on my entire life as far as male-female relationships go. Can you just read into that relationship and tell me, was it just the time wasn't right and it's not destined to happen this time around? And was she closer to a twin flame or a soulmate or than I would like to have believed at the time, and maybe the timing wasn't right, so this time it won't work?
I was already reading into her when you started to talk about her. And just using my intuition and not really looking at any cards or anything, which I do want to do for you off the air. But it's looking pretty awesome. I don't know. I'm getting some indicators that she could be a twin. And
the reasons that we aren't together today is inconsequential, but that there are people in our lives that affect our lives, and even though that happened a very long time ago, And I keep on thinking of rational reasons why it never would have worked out anyway. There was a heart connection between she and I. She was very much how you describe a twin flame. I could tell her anything. We could talk about anything. I could make her laugh. She could make me laugh. We had a great time. And the timing wasn't right for us to be together ultimately. And but that happens, I suppose, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's like I said, like nothing's going to hold these guys back at this time.
Well, that's encouraging. So maybe she'll hear this. Maybe she'll hear this and come back. But I tell you, I have a look. I remember what she looked like when she was 17, and when she's 60, she might have a whole different aspect to her.
Yeah, and she probably does, because you guys will both have insecurities with each other. I mean, that just that's another thing that I think somebody wanted to ask too. I forgot. Is that you have these parallel experiences, and it's like what made me think of that is that she may have some things that she has to get over, insecurity she has to get over to be with you, and vice versa. So yeah, she probably doesn't look like she did. But I was going to say that there are a lot of parallel experiences with your twin flame. Somebody had asked me in my Facebook group to address this today, so I was just remembering that popped in my head. She said, "What kind of parallel experiences have you had with your twin?" We both had body image problems, issues when we were younger, and so that was really cool to discover. There have been, I had a list of it written down and I don't remember. Maybe I'll just post it on the Facebook post. But yeah, there are some things so far. I mean, we've only really had about 8 hours worth of conversation. 6 hours worth of conversation. So I was really trying to reach back into everything we've ever talked about. But there are definitely some similar issues that we've had and similar viewpoints that we've shared. Obviously, we've both been through enlightenment, which is very rare and pretty awesome. So there are some similarities. I think I listed about 5 or 6 different similarities that we had from our past. But so look for that too, different things. Here we go. All right. So our track record with the opposite sex is real similar. He's a pretty boy and I'm a tomboy, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, and the body image issue when we were little. Religion has played a major role in our lives. We both view having pets as a major commitment and don't take it lightly. And both of our enlightenment experiences were without drugs, which is also even more rare because people have had a glimpse of enlightenment, but it's not usually, it is usually involving drugs. So it's kind of cool to have that in common.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Again, we're talking with Amy Satori, and this is the Twin Flame question and answer session. Go to Amy Satori, satorishow.podbean.com. I got it out. Thank you very much. And and listen to this and listen to the other Twin Flame shows. So with that, Amy, is there anything you'd like to wrap up before we go?
Just remember that it's just so many people from both sides are so stressed about it. You know, the masculines are stressed about some aspects of it, and she's stressed about that. But just kind of do what you can, meditate or do whatever you can to just relax about the whole thing and know it's going to happen. And quit trying to put it in a box and quit trying to read into it. Stop with the stories. Stop your mind from running in all these different directions and just be happy and be present in your life. Get on your mission. Get into what makes you passionate and excited. And if you feel like moving to a new town or a new country, do it. And don't let anything hold you back, because there are even forces trying to keep these couples apart by making them feel insecure and stuff like that. So don't buy into that garbage. Just be your best, do your best, and just know that God's got your back and He'll figure it out for you. So Just relax and have fun and be excited. Anticipate. I can't wait to see my twin again. I'm excited for to start talking to him. Yay!
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that for you too, because you said you can hear it in your voice that you sound so excited to be with him, and I'm sure that it will all work out. And it is a divine plan, and the timing is also divine. So I know that you're going to be patient for it, but in the meantime, don't not have fun with your life. Do stuff.
Yeah.
So, with that, again, you're listening to the Satori Show with Amy Satori, and go to her website, www.amysatori.com, find out more about her, and we'll see you next time. And remember, Amy always says,
fear isn't real.
So don't be fearful. It ain't real anyway. It's just a story you're telling yourself. Thank you very much.
Right.
Have a great day, everybody. And do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for somebody else. They deserve it, too. And we'll see you next time on The Satori Show.
You've been listening to The Satori Show. Please visit Amy's website, www.amysatori.com, to find out more about this incredible talent. The views expressed during this podcast are those of the host, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of management or the owners of this podcast. What you need to know is that Amy is a wonderful teacher, guide, and communicator for the unseen world. What she does not pretend to be is a doctor, fortune teller, seer of world events, or predictor of what is to come. What Amy presents is real, based on her understanding of the world and communication with that unseen world. As always, you're free to decide for yourself as to what to believe. Regardless, we love and accept you completely just as you are. And thanks again for listening to The Satori Show.